Okay, so this term we are working on this exhibition, which is a lovely exhibition that's on at the Bodleian Library at the moment. So it's in their Western Library, which is a huge, beautiful space that houses exhibitions, and also obviously lots of books. And this particular exhibition is about all the amazing things that happened from the North Sea crossings. So it's kind of taken from the starting point of around the 13th century, sort of that kind of time, and then mapping all of the incredible things that have happened along the way and still in terms of culture and our heritage as it is, which is just so interesting. There's just so many things that we're going to explore throughout the term, but today we're going to focus on portraiture. So we're taking this tiny portrait that's probably about this big, and unfortunately I couldn't get an image of it, which is in the exhibition, and it is beautiful. So the portrait itself is probably only about that big, and it's on this surface, this round wooden surface, which I would have thought would have been kept as some sort of pocket type thing so that they could carry this portrait around. And it's of Thomas Bodley, which is really significant because he actually founded the Bodleian. So it was already existing for about 50 years, but it gone to kind of wreck and ruin, and he came along as the English ambassador from the Netherlands and decided that he'd like to create this beautiful library. So this portrait of him in this exhibition is hugely significant. So I thought we'd take inspiration from this tiny little portrait and recreate our own. So that's the kind of context of where the idea of the portrait is coming from. And then we're going to have a little think about portraiture. So at the time of this portrait here, it was around the time of the Renaissance, so that was going on in Italy, and portraiture was becoming less about kind of fact and actually having an image of somebody and saying this is something that can be factual and used to show what this person looked like at this particular moment in time. It became more about the meaning of that portrait, so the sort of inner significance of that person. So as much as portraiture has always been about kind of status and all of those things, the portraiture around the time of the Renaissance became much kind of softer and about the emotion and the connection to people and the feelings involved in that. So we're gonna take some of that thinking about our portraits, and we're going to think about somebody who we would like to recreate. So thinking about somebody that feels like you'd like to have a lasting memory of them in your portrait. And we've got these lovely photo frames, which mean they can stand up next to bedsides, or they might like to go up on the wall, which is nice. But it's thinking about somebody who you would really like to capture on the surface. So once you've thought of that person, we're going to start taking a little bit of inspiration from this sort of this era. So we're going to start thinking about what clues are we going to put into our portrait. So it might be something they're wearing, it might be that we're going to exaggerate certain things about that person. It might be something in the background that's going to give us some clues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off really, really lightly with my pencil, and I'm going to think about my lovely sister who was here last term actually, and I'm going to put her into the portrait, and I'm just going to start off really, really light. I don't know if you can see, if you need me to come a bit closer. So I'm going really, really light. And I'm just thinking of where the face is kind of going to go. So it's going to go around there. And then once I've got a bit of a face shape in, I'm keeping it really light, I'm not rubbing anything out. I'm going to start layering in some of the other features, so things like hair. I'm not worried about eyes or anything like that just yet. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to space stuff. So I'm going to slowly start drawing things in. And again, I'm keeping this really light because this is just layer one. We're going to be adding paint and things like that as well. So I'm going to start thinking about where the eyes sit. Now there's lots of ways of doing portraits, but if you get too hung up on exact measurements here and there, it then means you're not thinking about the thing itself that you're drawing. So I'm just going to slowly start thinking about the eyes and where the nose might be. And then I'm going to have a nice smiley face. Now, when you're drawing a portrait, your eyes are usually about an eye's width apart. So what you can do is you can take your drawing tool, I'll put this on the table so you can see, and you can do about an eye's width between. You've then got, with the eyes sort of height, so draw this out first before you start worrying too much about where things are. You've then got about 2 heights of your eyes, 2.5 heights of your eyes to get down to your nose. So that's in about the same space. So I'm going to start drawing that in. Like I said, I'm not worrying too much about my details. I'm just getting the main components in. And I'm then going to put in some of my clues. So I'm going to put in an umbrella for Rose, because she's our resident umbrella designer. So she's got an umbrella there, and then I'm going to do another umbrella here, and then I'm going to have some umbrellas here. And then what I'm going to do, now I've got my basic shapes mapped out, I'm then going to start using the paint to layer up my colours. So you've got your basic shapes. You're then going to start mixing your flesh tones. Now, it's quite a tricky colour and tone to get, so the best way to do it is slowly. So start off with some white. If you're going for a light skin tone. So Rose, my sister, who I'm painting here, has quite fair skin. So I'm just starting off with quite a light yellow there. And then I'm just going to add a teeny weeny bit of the red. And then I think that's still too pinky for her, so I'm going to go even more white. And then the darker you want it to go, the more blue and red you add to it, to your skin tone. So I'm going to start layering that into my picture. So wherever I've got skin, I'm going to start layering that in. And then I can start adding slightly darker shades in places. So where the chin might be, and the cheeks. And then I'm going to use an even smaller brush. So for blending on skin, it's great to use dry brush because you can keep blending it. And then for the details, you can go super duper tiny. So this is once you've got all your colours in. You can go super duper tiny and start adding in those key features. So that will be when you can enjoy adding in your eyes and eyelashes and eyebrows and all of those fun things to add. But the key is to not do that too soon, because otherwise you're going to have to go back over. So get all your blocks of colour in, get all of your background in, and then you can really enjoy going to town with your details. And then once you've done all of that, you can mix yourself nice dark colours. And as you can see in our portrait here, you can really pick out nice textures on fabric, or you might like to really go for it with any hair or details like that you want to add in. You may even like to put their name or something along the bottom. So have a think about what clues you're going to add in to connect that person that you're recreating.